Honorable Minister for Commerce and Industry, Government of India, Shri Piyush Goyal ji. Can we have a big round of applause to welcome him? I also warmly welcome Mr. Sanjeev Puri, immediate past President CII, Chairman Advisory Council CII ITC Center of Excellence for Sustainable Development, and Chairman and MD ITC Limited, Mr. R. Mukundan, President Designate and CEO of Tata Chemicals, and Mr. Chandrajit Banerjee, Director General, Confederation of Indian Industry. We are now beginning with the special plenary on competitive and sustainable pillars of India's trade transformation. May I now request our esteemed dignitaries to please come on the dais. The session will explore how policy reforms, sustainable practices, and innovations can drive competitiveness while promoting environmental and social responsibility. To take the discussion forward, I will request our Director General, Mr. Chandrajit Banerjee, to please welcome and moderate the session.
The Honorable Commerce and Industry Minister of India, Shri Piyush Goyal ji, welcome back, if I may say, almost on an alternate day basis to something to do with CII in some part of the country or the world. And it is a pleasure, honor, and indeed our fortune to have your time and attention so many times on so many different matters, day in and day out. Thank you, sir, and welcome you to this very milestone summit that we have today on sustainable development as we celebrate 20 years of our CII and ITC sponsored Center of Excellence on Sustainable Development. So it's indeed great to have you on this 20th anniversary. As we were talking, sir, I was mentioning to you our commitment in the space of sustainable development, on climate, on environment, energy, and on how do we move to transition, green transition. So it's very pertinent for me to say that while India has been on the global high table when we talk about sustainability, when we talk about environment, the leadership that we got from you years back when you started, if I may say so, a revolution in this space was just tremendous. You brought in such wide-changing and so much visionary changes with our government in the lead, yourself at that time in the power ministry, so much of action we saw, and we see that momentum, sir, which carries on today into various other fields. The LED transition program, ladies and gentlemen, that was championed by our Honorable Minister here at that point in time, brought together the entire value chain to pilot scale and implement the shift, inspiring phenomenal confidence for investment in that area. The rest is history. I don't want to get into that. But Honorable Minister, sir, just to introduce the audience here today, we have 500 odd representations, as you see in this hall, sir. They're from the diverse sectors of the Indian industry, as well as 10 different nationalities participating here. We have, you always give a lot of space, and therefore I mention 50 odd startups attending this, and sectors from energy to FMCG to agriculture to steel to automobiles, all are present here. Sir, your presence today is critical in many, many ways, as I was mentioning. But as I conclude my welcome remarks to you, sir, I'd like to just make, probably this audience is waiting to also hear from you about one big dimension that we talk about almost on an hourly basis. So, and you are very much a part of it. So, in this world of global uncertainties, where India plays important role and is playing such a great, important role with our leader and leadership on trade policy. And India's trade policy over the last few years has been pretty much focused on competitiveness as well as sustainability. So going forward in this very uncertain sort of a geopolitical world, so how can us as an Indian industry get to be there in the new markets, get to be in diverse parts of the world which you are leading, and also sort of be somewhere emerging strong in this global geopolitical scenario? I ask this because you raise sometimes So I ask this because you raise sometimes not only the targets, but also raise the spirit of any tough moments that we go through. And you bring in joy with a lot of content and with a lot of inspiration. And with that background in my mind, I posed that questions as I conclude. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Shri Piyush Goyal, our Honorable Commerce and Industry Minister, to this very important session.
A very good morning to all of you. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to be a part of your celebrations today, Sanjeev. Thank you, Mr. Mukundan. Thank you, Chandrajit, as always, for putting me in a little bit of a dicey situation. But I'll touch upon every subject you want me to touch. First of all, congratulations on the CII ITC Center of Excellence for Sustainable Development for having completed 20 years of service to humanity, service to our country. In fact, this only goes to demonstrate that unlike many other countries for whom sustainability is not at the core of their development priorities, India, of course, for times immemorial, but also much before COP21, brought this subject to fore, has always been conscious about its responsibility to Mother Earth. इसको नीचे करवा देना as a disturbance. वो लोग करेंगे. Can you put this down? In fact, I still remember when Vice President Al Gore came out with his book, The Inconvenient Truth, which was probably 17, 18 years ago. I don't recall the year. One of the young kids here can probably just quickly chat GPT it. It was around the same time that Prime Minister Narendra Modi, as Chief Minister of Gujarat, came out with his own offering to the world, convenient action. Because we always knew this inconvenient truth. As a nation, since time immemorial, India has been a very conscious country. We have respected nature. We care for intergenerational equity. We believe natural resources have to be protected, have to continue to serve our future generations. And therefore, when I juxtapose 20 years and come up to 2005, when you started it, it gives me even greater pleasure when I compliment you for this initiative, for this thought, 10 years before COP21 in 2015, collectively resolved that the world should be more responsible towards the planet. And many of you may recall Prime Minister Modi had a very important role to make COP21 a success. Without his active participation, without his weighing in on the developed nations to contribute to the sustainability efforts of the less developed or developing nations, probably COP21 could not have come to fruition. Prime Minister Modi got the whole global south together, that this should be a collective responsibility of every country in the world. Of course, it is unfortunate that certain important players, certain important countries have chosen to forego the agenda of sustainability. But be that as it may, India continues to remain committed to our sustainability goals. We believe our competitiveness will only get better with a sustainable pathway. And I'm delighted to share with you that we have proven all the skeptics wrong over the last 10 years, particularly in terms of energy prices. I had the privilege of serving the Power and Renewable Energy Ministry, and in a very surprising manner also the Coal Ministry at the same time, from 2014 to 17. But I don't think there was any contradiction in the objectives of the three ministries. We powered on our renewable energy program, which we upscaled 5x as soon as Mr. Modi came into government. From 20 gigawatt, we upped our target to 100 gigawatt and achieved it in time. The Power Ministry, which also handles the transmission grid, contributed significantly to this success story by ensuring adequate transmission infrastructure, by giving free access to encourage renewable energy, by carrying out, if I remember correctly, probably more than a dozen studies to ensure that the intermittent power that goes into the power grid through solar or wind energy will be able to handle this intermittent power, and we won't face the kind of outage that we had inherited when I became a minister on 26 May 2014. I slept without a fan and air conditioner the whole night. My first day in office. And I remember Vinayak Chatterjee writing an article or an editorial in which he had titled my new position as Baptism by Outage. Because the grid was not really being properly managed or strengthened. It was a learning, and I remember the first 3 years itself, we put such massive investments into the transmission infrastructure, and we focused our energies to make India's entire grid an interconnected national grid. One nation, one grid, so that power would flow seamlessly, the resilience of the grid would improve, our ability to take intermittent renewable power in different parts of the country where land was available or wind was adequate would be socialized throughout the country. Transmission cost was waived for renewable energy. Contracts were not handed out anymore to friends and family. Post 2014, Every single bid, every single renewable energy contract went through a proper bidding process, and we were able to bring down the cost of solar power from 7 or 8 rupees to 2 rupees 41 paisa. Just honest bidding, equal opportunity for all to contribute to the program. There was some resistance when I did the same thing with wind. I kept explaining to them, initially without success, that will be good for the industry. Finally, I had to force the auctions on the wind sector. Caused a little pain point for a year and a half. But finally now wind also is available at comparatively similar prices to solar. And today India has a situation where we can offer 24 hours renewable energy through a combination of solar, wind, pump storage, and battery as a backup, collectively offering power at roughly 4 rupees 60 paisa to 5 rupees per kilowatt hour, with 24 hours clean and renewable energy. That would be what, 5 cents, 5.5 cents? I dare say there is no comparable power available anywhere in the world at this price, which is renewable round the clock, including peak hours. I still remember in the initial years in the ministry, we used to have situations that in northern India, we had excess power, no buyers, and southern India at that time was paying 12 or 13 rupees per kilowatt hour of power. And when it becomes so expensive, and half the power you give is free in any case, you usually don't provide power at all. And huge outages, huge power cuts were the order of the day. Prime Minister Modi tasked us to ensure 24-hour power supply across the country. And with the national grid becoming one, we finally were in a position to ensure that even down south, power became available at 1/4 the price, from 12 rupees down to 3 rupees, even during peak hours. That is the power of innovation, of honesty, of thinking out of the box, being bold in your ambitions, good monitoring of projects, taking some tough decisions. And I'm laying out this context to you because India has a unique opportunity today to lead the world in sustainability. It's another matter that the developed world has let us down very badly, despite making huge promises at Paris of ensuring that trillions of dollars would be available in concessional finance or grants to support the efforts of the developing world or the less developed countries. At least $100 billion a year were committed. But we yet have to see any of those commitments being fulfilled. When you talk to the developed countries about this promise, they'll introduce you to Goldman Sachs or JP Morgan and say this has to be a public-private-led initiative. I don't think any of us needs an introduction from a foreign government to go and meet JP Morgan or Goldman Sachs or any of these large financing companies. And I remember as renewable energy minister going around the world, trying to raise resources, supposedly at concessional terms. Not one loan or equity offering was available at even 10 basis points, even 10 basis points a year, concession to your credit rating rates. But despite all of these adversities, India stands tall today as one of the best performing G20 nations. In meeting our nationally determined contributions as per the Paris Agreement of 2015. In fact, most of them don't even file their report every 2 years as they are supposed to. But India has never defaulted even once in filing our performance report to the UNFCCC. As we speak, the Prime Minister is at Yashobhumi, inaugurating Semicon, India. Another frontier that India is now getting very active in. And just like in sustainability or renewable energy, India took rapid strides far beyond the world's expectations. We achieved our 2030 goals more than 5 or 6 years ahead of schedule, having today a 50% renewable energy installed capacity in a 500 gigawatt grid, aspiring to double it to 500 gigawatt in the next 5 years by 2030, and well on track to achieve that. With Make in India products, powering away to self-sustainable and self-reliant manufacturing, so that Make in India products help us in this journey. Our supply chains are resilient. We are not at the mercy of any other country choosing to switch on or switch off the tap, making India Atmanirbhar, self-reliant, building the confidence of young India to take on any challenges that the world wants to throw at India. That is India's strength today. That is the strength of 1.4 billion people working collectively, working towards a mission to make India a developed nation, a Viksit Bharat, by 2047 when we celebrate 100 years of independence. And friends, I compliment all of you in the room and beyond for this huge mission that the nation is set out upon. After all, it wouldn't have been possible without all the hard work our young men and women, our startups, our entrepreneurs, our corporates, and for that matter, our farmers, our hawkers, our kirana stores, the corner stores, shopkeepers, every player collectively contributes to a 7.8% GDP growth in the first quarter of this year, the fastest growing large economy in the world. Couldn't have happened without the collective conviction and resolve and contribution of 1.4 billion people. Mr. Rahul Gandhi thinks we are a dead economy, unfortunately. Well, if 7.8% GDP growth in the first quarter is any sign, if impending GST reforms, widely anticipated to give a big boost to consumption expenditure and demand, with government continuing to support infrastructure creation, allocating huge resources so that we can have world-class infrastructure with strong macroeconomic fundamentals, our ability to take on volatile and uncertain times has only increased and will certainly help us beat every estimate that the street economists or pessimists come up with. And friends, there will be challenges along the way. I'm glad you have 50 startups in the room. Sustainability is not only about renewable energy. Sustainability is not only about environmental pollution. Sustainability goes far beyond. Sustainability would include effective use of water resources. Sustainability could also be, why not the center have a hackathon all over the country, particularly with the changing climate trends, cloudbursts damaging property and losing our brothers and sisters due to flash floods, the situation of flooding in cities due to haphazard planning over 75 years. All of these will become an opportunity for further growth of the economy. Maybe we'll have some of these smart startups of ours coming up with newer and newer solutions of how we can work to address these kind of concerns. Maybe we need to have some short-term, medium-term and long-term goals being set to see how we can focus on capturing the water or water harvesting. Now recognizing that there are going to be sudden spurts of heavy rain coming in, can some of us start researching, exploring, experimenting with new ideas of what to do in the event of such eventualities? Another area which has always been of great interest to me personally and has a lot of importance and benefit for the country, something which Prime Minister Narendra Modi wants to inculcate in every child, in every citizen of India, is energy efficiency. A subject we started right in 2015. Some of you may recall it was, I'll never forget in my life, 5th of January 2015, when we launched the LED mission, Ujala. The effort to replace the incandescent bulbs with LED bulbs. There was a lot of skepticism because the country was barely selling a few 100,000 LED bulbs at that point of time. If I remember correctly, the government used to procure 600,000 bulbs at about 310 rupees per bulb. With taxes and all added, it would sell in the market at about 500-600 rupees. Government would give 100 rupee subsidy. And at that point of time, 120 crore people kept waiting for their turn to get that 100 rupee subsidy to replace their incandescent bulb with an LED bulb. Probably taken a few thousand years. I remember the first file towards that program that I signed was to eliminate that subsidy. And everybody was aghast. What are you doing? You're killing the program. I said, this is the birth of the program. That 100 rupees subsidy on a 500 rupee bulb had killed the ability of the nation to go in for energy efficiency through LEDs, because our total budget was 9 crores. 3 crores was going in administrative expenditure to reach that 100 rupees to provide 6 lakh bulbs. And when we removed that subsidy, when we talked to the private sector companies, I remember calling Philips, Surya Roshni, Crompton Reeves, Havells, some more, maybe I don't remember the names, all of the names now. Having a heart-to-heart conversation, understanding their issues, their problems, why these bulbs are so expensive, sorting out those issues, bringing in scale to the program, eliminating any possibility of corruption through purchasing by reverse bidding, where everybody has an equal opportunity to become a supplier to the government. I still remember probably the first purchase was for maybe 5 million bulbs, if I remember correctly. By the third or fourth iteration or offering, the government procured 20 million bulbs. And the price came down from 310 rupees to 38 rupees for an LED bulb. Instead of an 8-watt bulb at 310 Indian rupees, we got a 12-watt LED bulb from Philips. I say that so that you don't think we got some substandard quality material. Philips provided us a 12-watt LED bulb, 20 million of them at 38 rupees. That was a saving of nearly, 85%. Scale made so much difference. Everybody could participate through an honest mechanism, made a difference. Payment was made within 30 days, and if they didn't receive the payment, every supplier had my mobile number. And the officers knew that they have my mobile number. So I never got a call that payment ever got delayed. And today, if any of you wants a incandescent bulb, possibly you may have to go to an antique store, madam. And I'm sure all of these bulbs would be LED also. I remember Mr. Anand Mahindra probably coming to me one of those days, or Pawan Goenka, the then CEO of Mahindra's. Arun Nanda is here. Pawan came to me at that point of time and explained to me that they have a 3-year program to convert the entire Mahindra group to LED. And I spent half an hour to explain to him how bad that idea was. I was going to use another word, but that word has cost me very heavy when I used it in London for the ASEAN FTA. I said, you should be doing it in 6 months' time, because your payback will be 1 year. Why are you waiting for 3 years? He said, okay, let me go and examine it. I believe they did it in 6 months. And then Pawan Goenka came back to tell me that the payback was not 1 year, it was 6 months. The amount of money they saved converting from incandescent to LED bulbs. And then fans, then tube lights, a variety of things. Can this center take up energy efficiency? So remember, every unit of energy, every kilowatt of energy that you save is effectively equivalent to 1.25 kilowatt hour of energy or 1.3 kilowatt hour of energy produced. Can you imagine the amount of carbon emission you will be saving? Can you imagine the amount of investment we will be saving for every kilowatt hour of energy that we can save? And I think there's huge potential. In every way we can, we must start assessing every single opportunity towards energy efficiency. In fact, Honorable Prime Minister only recently was sharing an example, an experience about street lights not being switched off on time. A smart startup over here can quickly come up with a simple device connecting all the street lights that automatically, as the illumination goes up, the sun rises, the lights go off. And when the sun sets and it starts getting dark, the lights start getting on. Elementary things, ladies and gentlemen. And we can make a transformational impact. Our wastage of food, for example. I don't know how many of us have ever bothered to assess that in a year or a month, how much food we waste on our plates. And remember, it's not only a loss of water and all the money that goes into farming, the fertilizer, insecticides, pesticides, water, effort, all of that. The transport, the processing of the food, further transport, marketing, to your homes, transport, you cook, gas, after eating, you dispose of the waste, trucking of that disposal, problems of landfill wherever there's not enough waste to energy plants. Just imagine if 140 crore Indians were to save 1 kilogram of food waste a year. Anybody wants to do the math? We have 1400 million people. You'll be saving 1.4 million tons of food. And I'm only talking of 1 kilogram in a year. I suspect it will be much more in most cases. Starting right from the Domino's pizza or the huge burger, which in any case is only going to cause all of us more obesity. Prime Minister gave us another idea. Can we all at least start reducing 10% of the edible oil that we use in cooking? It's good for you and me, of course. Obesity, sugar, cholesterol, so many illnesses. Can we all start thinking of becoming fitter, healthier through preventive efforts, not post-illness care? And believe me, all of this circles back to sustainability. Everything I've said circles back to sustainability. I was told the theme was a circular economy. I read somewhere in the title of your program sheet that you are looking at circularity, you are looking at a circular economy. Am I right or wrong? India leads the shift, blending trade ambition with a strong commitment to circularity, climate resilience, and inclusive growth. And friends, I invite all of you to be a part of this effort. I don't know if you heard Prime Minister even at the Man Ki Baat radio podcast, which he does on the last Sunday of every month, just 2 days back, where he said that less than 1% textile waste is recycled in India. Can you imagine if we can recycle that waste? The developed countries are actually willing to pay a premium for recycled material. If we start cleaning up our oceans and rivers and water bodies, we get a premium for the product made out of that waste that comes out of the water bodies or the oceans, because you are effectively saving our aquaculture. And the list goes on and on and on. Tremendous potential, friends. And the effort of institutions like the CII ITC Center is truly commendable. For all the good work that they've been doing, let's all of us take in the message of Prime Minister Modi in his first 15th August address in 2014, where he said India will focus on zero defect, zero effect. Let quality and Sustainability. Zero defect is quality. Zero effect is the effect on the environment. Sustainability. Let this be the mantra. Let this be the pillars on which India powers on in the Amrit Kal, our 22-year journey until 2047, where we see continuous, inclusive and sustainable growth. This 22 years is going to define the future of the world's largest democracy. Our commitment to become a developed nation, take prosperity to every child born in India, will be tested in these 22 years. While India will continue to have more and more relations with countries around the world, strengthen our friendships with all countries, as we continue to have newer trading arrangements with the European Union, with Chile, Peru, New Zealand, a second tranche of Australia and Oman. All of these are FTAs on the anvil. We already completed Mauritius, Australia's first tranche, the four-nation EFTA bloc, UK, UAE. Lots have happened, lots more to go. But all of the US, we are in dialogue with them for a bilateral trade agreement. With all of this and India's growing relevance as a provider of 18% of global growth, as the world's third largest economy in the next 2 years, as a country which even today on purchasing power parity sports an economy of $15 trillion, as a nation which believes in that old adage, what Mahatma Gandhi had said also, we do not inherit the earth from our ancestors. We borrow it for our children. With this collective commitment and mindset, with the effort of 1.4 billion people meeting the aspirations of a young India, one of the youngest countries in the world, I am very confident that India's future is safe, is secure, is resilient, and rests on the pillar of sustainability and high quality, cost competitiveness, to be able to engage with the whole world with confidence, and at the same time ensuring that inclusive growth, growth which reaches the last man at the bottom of the pyramid, will be our credo, will be our ultimate and final target or mountain that we have to cross. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister, for that very powerful address at this Sustainable Summit. Thank you for even responding to some of the issues that have come up since morning and some that I put up to you as we were speaking. Now, to take the question forward or another question forward and to make some comments, I'll request the chair of the CII ITC Center of Excellence of Sustainable Development and our IPP, Mr. Sanjeev Puri, to make a remark from what the Minister said and probably ask a question.
Thank you, CB. Honorable Minister, let me also join CB in thanking you for being here today with us. On this special occasion, it means a lot to all of us because you've been you've been a guiding light in our journey. You've been a very important mentor to industry. And I also want to thank you for your leadership in the trade-related negotiations where you have stood very clear on India's position and India's interest. And also, I think there are developments happening where trade and sustainability is also getting intertwined. I think your position has been very clear and firm on common and differentiated responsibilities. And we thank you for your leadership. Today's session that your address today, I think it was very insightful that in a very practical sense, I think the whole concept of sustainability was brought to life. And all the elements of sustainability came through and how all of this through multi-dimensional efforts is being built in India. Now, India's remarkable performance in Q1, along with being in a great position, leadership position in delivering on NDCs, also showcases that economic growth and sustainable growth can indeed go hand in hand, and the two are synergistic rather than creating any contra forces. It's a very strong demonstration of that particular principle. You had spoken about several interesting points in today, but I just thought I'll just make a mention about 2 points. One is, I think, a very important point you highlighted is very often forgotten, and is the point on nature and the impact that climate change is having on our quality of lives today, whether it's floods or droughts or heat, etc. So in this context, I thought I'll mention to you that that's an area that at the center we have recognized as a very critical issue. We recognize that while we are working on decarbonization, by the time temperatures go down, in fact, right now the UN emission gap report says that we may be hitting 3.1 degrees increase by end of century. So we also have to adapt to learn to live in a situation of extreme climate events. So we had done some detailed study last year. We'd also published a report on climate adaptation for corporate India. Part of it is how to respond, and part of it is also how to use AI and data that is available to predict the kind of possible scenarios that may emerge at a 10-year interval level and try and take some mitigative steps in advance. So this is a small little effort we had started last year, and we will continue to pursue it because, as you rightly said, the issue is very serious and demands a lot of attention. I will, as we move forward, I take the liberty of asking you one question also. So you've spoken about corporate India, you've spoken about startups. I thought I'll also touch upon MSMEs today. Now, MSMEs are the backbone of industry, and we in CII recognize this. And in the center also, we have a very strong initiative to support MSMEs. We have the Climate Action Charter, and we have 450 MSMEs who participate. It's a tool to analyze and identify the gaps. We also work with value chain players for them to work with their partners. So in this context, I thought I'll seek your views on how we can further work together between government and industry and build the capacity in MSME to be competitive from also a sustainability standpoint.
Sanjeev ji, government should not be brought into everything. I think this whole idea that it is only government's responsibility to be handling the MSME's problems is quite flawed. Let me give you a thought. And I see some very big captains of industry even before me, apart from at least 2 large corporate groups sitting on both my side. You talk about doing something for 450 MSMEs. Let me throw a challenge to you. Maybe it'll shave off $1 million or $5 million from your profit. Maybe. I don't think it will. I think it will only help your profits. But I'm taking the worst case scenario also. Suppose you were to look at the entire value chain, up to the last kirana store or corner store where ITC products are sold or your cigarettes are sold. And try to be worried or concerned about that entire ecosystem, right till the bottom. You could explain, you could possibly pay your MSMEs instead of 90 days or 120 days, pay them in 7 days. Because otherwise they have to borrow from a bank at 10%, you may be borrowing at 5%, 5.5%, if at all you borrow in the first place. If you pay him on time and tell him he has to pay his supplier on time, the whole chain will help you get your products at a cheaper price. You can even take back that 3%, 4% benefit from him. But he'll be able to grow his business with money rotation faster. While doing that, you can teach him a little bit about energy efficiency. Maybe help him, since he's your own person, help him provide something, some solar equipment or some way to reduce his own cost and contribute to sustainability. And then go down the line, maybe your kirana store, you could buy him a 5-star rated air conditioner so his electricity bill comes down. Maybe you could help him do up his store a little smarter so that he starts making 5,000-7,000 rupees more every month, which may provide for his children. And just one company, Tata's, if we try to look at the ecosystem, probably be 1 million MSMEs, if not more, who could get impacted by any such initiative. Godrej would be another 1 million probably. JSW now in paints and cement and what not have you. I'm just trying to, please don't think I'm picking out anybody. It's for all, everybody. Just imagine if the top 5,000 companies, even the top 100 groups to begin with, took this as a mission. Can you imagine what an impact it will have on the economy of the country? How much more we can help them in their growth plans and their income possibilities. And in that process, you need any help from the government, please guide us, we are ready. We also run so many programs. But I have always believed that government programs, if run through you, through the corporate sector, they are more efficient. Rather than, government trying to locate people and run. So let me share with you, friends. In Mumbai, CII has set up a skill development center. Absolutely fabulous work done by CII. Pro bono, free of charge, skill development is provided to thousands of children, but mostly youth. Already they have given 18,000 people a job out of a job center that they have created there. Newer companies are coming up there. ITC trains children in front office, in kitchen, as chefs, as servers. The entire value, as bellboys, the entire value chain. L'Oreal is setting up there a center to train, I think, saloonists, beauty saloonists. Kindle has set up a center to train our young girls in cyber security. And I visited last, I don't know if you were there with me. You saw those girls, they're coming from the slums. And they'll get a job of 7-8 lakh rupees to begin with. And they were picking it up so fast that I won't be surprised if 5 years down the road they'll be earning 30 lakh rupees. The way they were picking up cyber security tools. So I invite all of you, and it's a government-private initiative. Government provided the space. CII has done everything else, including managing the show. Same way, if corporates were to start taking up their whole MSME right down till the bottom last element, I don't think government is required in this whole process at all. Sorry to have bounced the ball back to you, Sanjeev. I'm sorry I've bounced the ball back to you.
No,
but I honestly believe that is the way forward.
No, I fully take that point. I fully take, and there is no debate on it. Very well taken. And just if I may take the liberty of providing a little context to it, 450 is what the center is doing directly. What companies are doing individually, the large corporates, is many times more. I was just saying it's really the smaller independent MSMEs that the center is working with. Each one of us will be working
Sanjeev,
with. Yes.
If you give me a base of 450, then many times more has no value. If you had given me a base of 10 million and said others are doing many times more, I would have been extremely delighted. So do an assessment. Let's do an assessment. Let's do an assessment. CII can take the initiative. Do an assessment how many of your companies pay in 7 days to their MSME suppliers. Give me a feedback on that. Then we'll discuss further.
Yeah, sure.
Just a running report card.
7 day payment.
No, Honorable Minister, you really gave a lot of reference to the startups and a lot of work to them. Two of them I would like to bring in to this conversation. Rajat Verma, he's the founder and CEO of Loham, and it's a startup focusing on high-quality battery recycling. If I can bring him in, please. Mic for...
Thank you, Mr. Banerjee. Honorable Minister, congratulations on a great set of numbers in the first quarter on the GDP. My question is related to critical minerals and advanced materials, which, as you know, are very important for sustainable development and an area in which my company has done quite an extensive work. First of all, the National Critical Mineral Mission is a commendable effort towards achieving critical mineral security for the country. So, however, in the last 10 years, China has spent between $350 to $500 billion in advancing its critical minerals and advanced materials industry. It has helped China develop IP, secure its raw materials, and develop immense scale. Often the scale is daunting to rest of the world. What are your thoughts and views on advancing the critical mineral and advanced materials ecosystem in the country? And in particular, what are your expectations from the industry as well? Thank you.
I think with the learning curve being what it is, everything need not be reinvented. We need not reinvent the wheel. If somebody else has spent $300 billion, that's great. Now we have to learn from those experiences, maybe even take technology on payment basis. We should continue to innovate and do it better. We should innovate for other areas. We should probably do faster exploration, I agree. And you're doing a wonderful job through recycling of critical minerals or whatever other minerals. But I fully endorse what you say. We'll also have to look at much greater spending. To begin with, as a small, humble gesture, government has allocated $12 billion for innovation and R&D. And mind you, when India spends $12 million for R&D, if I was to take a comparable R&D project in Europe or the US, it would probably cost 6 to 8 times more. So our 12 billion can give us a bigger bang for every buck we spend. It would actually give us $100 billion worth of innovation or R&D. So I invite everybody to use this fund effectively. My own experience is not very good about Indian corporates' excitement to focus on R&D and innovation. As textile minister, I had a small fund to promote technical textiles. And I was at wit's end to try and persuade the industry to use that fund. We're ready to pay 95% of any project to promote technical textiles as a grant. And still, we could not get enough people to come and participate. So I do hope this time around, corporate India startups such as yours will be more proactive to get into the field of innovation and R&D. It may need some improvements in the IP laws, for which we are working. If any of you have any suggestions, please do share with us. We are open to any suggestions towards ease of doing business, towards ease of living, towards removing regulatory bottlenecks, towards easing compliance burden, towards decriminalizing laws so that you can sleep peacefully at night, towards debureaucratization, getting the officialdom out of your business. Any ideas that CII or any of you participants can come up with is welcome. Just drop in a mail or a letter or a note to my office and it will be taken care of. Thanks. And any relating to any department of central government, any state government, any municipal corporation, any local body, we are hungry for your suggestions.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. And we'll work on that and come back to you with some thoughts captured from the industry. And we'll also really focus on more of industry, academia, deepening of their exchanges and their discussions with the new education policy today. The scope of our work in that space of academia industry towards research and design would be easily possible. One more startups, if I may, Honorable Minister, with your permission, Ravi Kaushik is the founder and CEO of Arth, AIRTH. That is, it's a homegrown startup which is focusing on clean air, and because it's Sustainable Summit, we thought that we'll bring him in. Ravi, a mic for you.
Hi. Hello, sir. I'm sure many of us got goosebumps multiple times when you were speaking so passionately. My question is, sir, what role do you see of AI, data science, and blockchain in transforming India's trade ecosystem?
I think it's an idea whose time has come. And you should never try to flow against the stream of water. What you need to do is pick up the sails and try to go faster as the stream is running forward. And I believe India is one nation which has always been willing to adopt new technology. There will be a few naysayers. So you will read articles in the newspapers, maybe some editorials about job losses or that this will have a terrible impact on jobs and stuff like that. Then you'll read an article which says one company took out 300, 500 people and a big noise will be made. Maybe 3 debates will be held in the evening shows on television for lack of another subject which could be more exciting. So I don't think we should be deterred by that. We need to reskill. We need to retrain our young people. AI will have its role. Then there will be the problem of the unethical use of AI. So human intervention will be required to address that. Then there will be bots coming into the databases on which AI is based. Then we'll need people to sort out and improvise on this. So this is only going to increase jobs. And Indians are very agile. Indians are smart. Our young men and women, and we produce the highest number of STEM graduates every year, are going to be the most critical resource for the world in the years to come. So I look upon this as a great opportunity. We must adopt it. We'll have to spend time and effort and money, and all corporates will also have to rejig their systems. And just as our services exports are powering on, growing at double digit every year, AI will only help us to add to that. There could be short-term blips till we train enough people. or till the unethical use or the bots and all of these problems come up. There may be some short-term blips, but in the long run, this is going to be great for India. So I recommend that more and more youngsters get, I've told my office, every person at decision-making levels has to have the latest version of AI, Chat GPT and whatever else is available on their phones or their laptops. So we are going to use it, but with a condition that any report they make should have at the bottom of it that it has been generated or prepared with the support of AI or whichever tool they use and has been validated further. So it's not that they just do a cut-paste job, present it to me, and tomorrow it turns out to be some mashup of fake stuff. Some of which, like social media today, a lot of the stuff on social media is fake. Even in AI, a lot of fake stuff is moving around. So that part, the human being will be required. The human mind will always remain supreme. The world's best AI may come forward, but he can't cook the meal that my mother used to cook at home.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Once again, the AIs always have the disclaimer at the end, like some other advertisements that we see, so they cover themselves up well. So, Mukund, for you to kindly take, bring this session to an end and also give your remarks as you thank the Minister.
Yeah, so one of the reasons I wanted to do this closing from here, Honorable Minister, is because I just want to commend him. Please put a round of applause for him, because I was with him on Friday, Saturday, Monday. Friday he was with the Africa Conclave, and that is to promote trade, connect India and Africa, and he spoke about sustainability, how we can link India and Africa together to ensure both continents, actually, it's very similar in size, grow in a green way, protecting their environment. I think he was so passionate. It was about trade and commerce, but he spoke about it. Then on Saturday, and he was not well. I just want to say that this again, his energy was top class even through that. And he was with the UAE minister, and he spoke about again how India and Middle East can cooperate together to build trade, and again in a very sustainable way. But I also want to thank you for your great support, because that center which you said, it wouldn't have come up without your active push to get the, one of the biggest issue in urban India is getting real estate. And I can set up a skill center, but then if it doesn't have center to support it, I think you got it to us in a record time. It was supposed to be a public car park type of thing, but now it is actually training people, and that's a very imaginative reuse of repurposing of an urban center. Thank you so much, Minister. Again, a round of applause for having that skill center where he spoke about. But I also want to say that a couple of things we've done, and I think you highlighted one of them, Honorable Minister, during your time on LED. I think the E20 revolution now, I think, is a fantastic move. Government is intent on at least blending 20 bioethanol, which is going to sort of reduce India's fuel bill. There's a lot of controversy about oil, but I think we'll make it bio oil going forward. Doesn't have to come from anywhere. That's our long-term vision. Same way EV. And the other thing which I will come to the star rating, Honorable Minister, this is a suggestion which I have. I think you can take it as a point which we could elaborate. I'll come to that in the end. Also, I just want to tell the audience what the government and private sector, the corporate sector has done together. This is probably the only country where for all the large plants, you can get 24/7 the environment parameters online, and it is available to government, it is available to general public. No other country has been able to execute. I can tell you my plant operating parameters are visible. So is with Godrej, so is with JSW. So I think this is a fantastic move to actually democratize and make the data visible to everybody. Once the data is visible, companies start performing. The other part which is unique about India, I think this is why we celebrate this and we continue to work on this in the center, was because India is the highest density of population, one of the highest density of population. We have the highest density of livestock. But we must commend the community. We must keep it at the center of everything we do, because we also have the highest density of the rich biodiversity. So please applaud for the community of India, which has done that huge amount of work. And I really think it's important. We must acknowledge the local work. And India is on a mission mode in making sure that this democratization, inclusion of community is at the center of everything we do. It is not just making India one grid. There's actually one move in India, which is to say that we will have lifestyle for environment. This is a mission which I think our Prime Minister started. He was my Honorable Chief Minister when he started Convenient Action. He has carried that forward in the center, lifestyle for environment, where we speak about plant-based diet, we speak about plastic pack. The Green Credit Program, very unique program in the world, where we actually give credit to individuals for green actions. Just as a point, CI is extremely focused on 3 pillars in the center: carbon-free growth, circularity, and biodiversity. And in this regard, actually CI has set up a network of institutions. I just think we are sitting in a celebration of one institution, but network of institution, I think. We have Green Building Center, and Honorable Minister, you'll be delighted to know we are number 2 in the world in number of green buildings certified, and the number 1 is our northern neighbor, but we will get there very soon to beat them too. I think we are very ambitious, but we'll get there. Same way, I think if you look at, we have a Green Business Center which does a terrific amount of work in certifying products green. And I think we also give them a rating in green. And Triveni Water Institute, where we look at water. And FACE, which is we can't forget farm and agriculture, which is fantastic, the biggest employer, which is our Center for Farm and Agriculture. More importantly, I think this center, CIS ITC Center, was the first one when Prime Minister gave a clarion call for zero effect and zero defect. And I remember Seema and working with her at that point of time in developing the Z score. And that Z score has now become the cornerstone of how we assess the MSMEs. So we do a lot of work, but I think your point, Honorable Minister, about how do we spread it more, how do we spread it deep, I think is noted. And thank you for that wonderful call to action here. I think one of the biggest thing I would say is that the demand creation by government is a very, very big force multiplier. I fully agree that government should not, actually we should take the ownership and corporate should take the central role, but at the same time government can galvanize it and catalyze it. And I think for the star rated products, if it can be integrated with GEM portal, and somehow we can create massive demand for that, I think we'll do a huge amount of push for green products and sustainable products. But this has been a fantastic session, and thank you all for your attention, and thank you for participation in such large numbers. And we'll have a wonderful day today, celebrating environment, celebrating biodiversity, celebrating circularity. Thank you.
Thank you very much to the esteemed dignitaries who have with us today and shared their insights and knowledge with all of us. Thank you. Thank you to all the guests here. Ladies and gentlemen, with this we conclude the special plenary with our chief guest, Honorable Minister Piyush Goyal. And we will now, Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
It's been a long time. Yeah.